Hello, everyone. Today is March 30th, 2021. I'm here with Joseph Peter Ostunio. How are you doing today, Joseph?
Doing all right. How you doing?
Doing all right. Thanks for coming on the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
So, you're graduating from the University of Tennessee this year, huh?
Yeah, May 7th. We're almost a month out.
Wow. How
They're
do you
still
feel?
working. Yeah, I don't really know how I feel. I'm excited to be done with school. I
Law
just have a
school.
yeah. I'm excited to be done with law school. I just got a lot on my plate. They expect us to work, study for the bar, and go to school like kind of at the same time our last year. So it's just a lot.
What have you been doing for work over the last year? And
So
how?
I've been
No, actually,
no,
continue.
go on.
No,
No, no, no.
continue with that.
Oh,
I'll ask the second one after you're done.
so I've been working as a graduate assistant remotely. I proctor exams remotely. We kind of had to reinvent the way we did that. I've
Sam's
worked exams. So I work with students
exams.
with disabilities. I really haven't been doing much legal work. I had jobs lined up and COVID kind of um, took care of that. So I just ended up doing summer school 2 summers in a row. And I just worked in our clinic at school, and I got legal experience doing that. And I've been working for a judge this semester, so that's kept me busy as well. So I'm doing that. I'm starting my job tomorrow, my legal job that I'm going to be working in after. Um, and I'm still going to school, so still doing
Wow.
so it's a lot. I mean, professional school, it's not really graduate school. Law school is considered professional school. It's just they expect a lot of you, and it doesn't really stop when stuff goes wrong.
Really? Even during the COVID, it didn't stop.
Um,
What do you
it
mean by it goes wrong?
life, like life, just like kind
Yes.
of an undergrad, like stuff happens, and like people are more willing to work with you. I feel like, not to say that law school they don't work with you. It's just different. Like the assignments don't get easier. You still have to finish. Like if you have an appellate brief due that's 30 pages, that appellate brief has to get done at some point before the end of the semester.
What's an appellate brief?
An appellate brief is essentially like an argument at an appellate court level, meaning like it's usually you have like a district court, then you have appellate court, and then you have like a Supreme Court. Sometimes there's more courts in between there. That's generally how it works. You usually have like a three-step process, and you might not even get to the appellate court, and then you really might not get to the Supreme Court. But an appellate brief is like the first level of an appeal. It's one of the harder writing assignments that you'll have in law school, but it teaches you like it teaches you what to expect from an appellate level case.
Wow.
Like what kind of arguments you need to make. Yeah.
Are you expecting to do any of that in your professional career?
We'll see. I'm not at first. Unless you get an insane job, you really won't write appellate briefs for a long time. Even in big law, you're going to do a lot of discovery motions and stuff. I don't even know what level you would do a Supreme Court brief at. Maybe if you were like second chair at a like medium-sized firm and you just got this crazy case that needed to be appealed. Appellate's pretty you want a lot of decent amount of experience, I'd imagine.
So, and how much of your, experience at law school would you say is pretty applicable to your work or what you think you're going to be doing for work?
Honestly, I think writing is really the only. I mean, some of the experiential stuff we do has real time or real world implications, but for the most part, law school isn't experiential. And I think that's kind of a new movement in law school. I can't really speak to that. We had experiential like where we had to like file a case our first year. I want to say my first semester, we did it in torts. It was like an IUD issue, which is IUD would be like, okay, I'm gonna need you to edit that out because I don't even know what IUD means.
What? So what is? You don't know what IUD is? What is an
No, I don't know
IUD?
what it was so that particular assignment that we got was an experiential course, and what happened was we essentially filed a case. Intentional. I'd have to look it up. But it was like a tort case where somebody got into a fight over their pets, and it was really cheesy, the hypo. But the professor was absolutely amazing.
And you had a good experience with writing in.
So that wasn't a big writing assignment. That was essentially like a one, two, maybe 3 pages, like just filing a complaint, which is more typical of what you'll see in your first years of practice. Like you're just, you file a complaint, and then the briefs come later. But yeah, that was a cool experience, especially because it made you feel like you were an attorney, even though you weren't, in your first year. Yeah.
Got it. And what type of law do you want to practice now that you're about to leave school?
So I'm going into family and immigration practice, which I'm actually excited. I'm really excited to do it, especially the opportunity to learn immigration. And family will give me a lot of litigation experience. You don't see a lot of litigation experience your first years practicing, unless you like go into JAG Court or you
Jag
get like
Jag Court meaning
JAG Court. No, it's a court. JAG Court is Judge Advocate General Court. It's essentially like the military's internal justice system. Like one of my best friends, Chris Davis, he's a JAG officer, and I actually have a couple friends from UCSD who've done JAG, and it's just a really cool experience.
wow. Sounds what do you know what makes you say it's a cool experience?
It's a cool experience because the military kind of has their own justice system, and I mean, you're serving your country while practicing your career. So to be a lawyer and to be in the military, I think would be a really exciting thing.
Wow, it sounds exciting. Martial court sounds kind of scary too.
For some people, I'm sure it is.
Oh wow. Um, what was your dissertation on? Did you have
I
a
wrote,
dissertation?
so yeah, I wrote a small dissertation. Don't ask me the page count because I don't remember, and I just wrote it too. I wrote it last semester.
Is
I
the
wrote it
page
on.
is the page count important?
No, the word count was important, and I don't remember what the word count was either. But it had a certain amount of words. The oh geez, what's it called? The bar accreditation requires all law students to write some sort of like a dissertation. They call them different things. Like they get Vanderbilt, they were called notes. And I forget, I think UNLV just writes an appellate brief, but I'm not exactly sure. Anyways, mine I wrote on Route 91. I wrote it on technology law, actually. So I randomly enrolled in a tech class to write my, we call it a writing expository. And it turned out that I wanted to write it on Route 91, on MGM, suing the survivors to get immunity in court. And it just so happened that it was all based on tech law. It was based on the Homeland Security Act. It was passed after September the 11th. And it was just a really interesting, like I learned things about Route 91 that I didn't know.
What do you mean by Route 91?
Route 91 was a shooting that took place in Las Vegas at the Route 91 Harvest Music Festival. I was there with a friend, and she was actually shot that night. And we, by the grace of God, we made it out alive.
And you wrote your dissertation on that?
I wrote my dissertation on some of the tech law implications that MGM was trying to use to get out of liability for the event. Yeah,
Wow. And were they successful in that?
it was settled out of court.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so we'll never. It was interesting because it was a first time thing. Nobody's ever invoked the Safety Act to get immunity in the way that MGM did. So that's never happened before. It was like a first time thing, and they ended up settling out of court. So we'll never know.
The Safety Act. So, what is the Safety Act?
So the Safety Act it falls under the Homeland Security Act. It was passed after 9/11, and essentially what it did was it incentivized technology companies to develop anti-terrorism technology, and it gave them a way out of certain types of liability. MGM was really trying to stretch the intent of the law, in my opinion. But I really wish that we would have gotten some kind of decision, because it's just one of those laws that's never really been tested.
Wow. So there might be a decision in the future then.
We'll see. We'll see. I don't know if we'll ever see a situation like MGM again, because MGM really fell kind of outside of the law's intended use. Like there was a security company that was protecting the grounds, and I actually used to work for that company in San Diego. It's called CSC, Contemporary Services Corporation, and they would qualify for it's known as qualified immunity, because they deployed qualified anti-terrorism technology. So I could see in the future where a company would get out of liability. I don't know if a company like MGM, which was essentially hiring a third party to protect the grounds, would get out of liability by hiring that security company. It's really complicated, like anything in the law, but I don't know if we'll ever see a situation where it'll happen.
So that law was, like you said, never tested. It was just considered as an argument for MGM's defense.
Yeah, MGM sued the survivors in federal district court. I believe it was both in California and Nevada. I haven't read my.
Wait,
Wow.
MGM sued the survivors?
Yes, MGM. So MGM sued the survivors in federal court, and under this qualified immunity, because CSC deployed this qualified anti-terrorism technology, as designated by the Department of Homeland Security and its secretary. And yeah, I don't want to get too into the weeds, but it's complicated, and MGM really did. I just don't see the link between MGM and the qualified anti-terrorism technology, because it was more the issue was that the shooter was allowed to shoot from their hotel, which the security company had nothing to do with the hotel. But yeah, I mean, it's a stretch. My legal opinion doesn't matter. I'm not a lawyer. I have not passed. I'm not giving legal advice to anybody. I just want to make that clear. But I don't see it. I'd like to see other people argue the other side of it, because there's not a lot there. It's never really been tested before. Yeah.
It seems like a crazy case for that, because wouldn't you say that failed, the anti-terrorism technology they were trying to implement?
No, I wouldn't say it failed. In my personal opinion, I wouldn't say it failed, because obviously the anti-terrorism technology had to do more with crowd control, and like, say if the shooter had been on the grounds, it didn't necessarily fail. I wouldn't presume that CSC failed in their duty. Even one of the security guards actually was shot and killed. So I wouldn't want to do a disservice to him. And he was actually really helpful in helping people get out and survive. The qualified anti-terrorism technology has to be the direct cause, I believe, under the statute for the injuries in order to qualify for immunity. So you'd have to possibly prove that the terrorism technology was a direct result of the injuries. So that,
Okay.
yeah, so like the terrorist isn't immune from liability from what he does. The security company is only immune from causing injuries from that specific technology. So I wouldn't say they failed. If anything, I think that they probably helped. There isn't a lot in my research. I didn't really come across anything about whether CSC did their jobs well. I would presume that they did, if anything, having worked for the company and knowing what their mission is and what their goals are. I mean, I've been through the training. It's essentially, observe and report kind of a thing, and to be on the lookout for stuff like that, and to be ready in case of an emergency where you need to escort people out and stuff. I wouldn't say they failed. I'd say that the shooter made it very hard for people to escape because of the direction of which he was shooting. That was probably the best way out.
But that has nothing to do with the technology.
No, it doesn't.
Got it.
As far as I know. I mean, somebody, it could be that the other way, but I haven't seen anything for the other side on that argument. Sorry, I'm speaking like someone who's in law school. I don't know the other side of the issue.
No, that's good to, clarify that, because I mean, that's what you're supposed to do, right? Your new profession, like know what you do know and know what you don't know.
Yeah, it's nice now just admitting when you don't know something. It's a lot easier.
Yes, it is a lot easier. So you were in the Route 91 shooting itself.
Yeah, we were in the luckily we were in the back of the stage area. So it was a little bit easier for us to get out. But yeah, it was still some tough memories. That's definitely affected me all throughout law school. I actually just had surgery to repair my hip, which I injured at Route 91. I've had back problems since basically day one after the shooting, and it was all linked to my hip. And my back is doing much better. My hip's not doing much better, but we'll see. I'm still healing from surgery.
Well, that's glad you got that fixed and you're feeling better.
Yeah,
That's pretty terrible. So that happened before you went to law school?
that happened. Yeah, I was studying for the LSAT. It happened in 2017, and I was
October.
enrolled October of 2017, and I was enrolled in law school. Just a little bit less than a year later, in August 2018, I started law school.
Wow.
Yeah,
That was, I remember where I was when I heard that. Like I was not in the United States. I was abroad, and just I woke up to some news like there was this massive massacre in Las Vegas. 50 plus people died. It's like, this is
yeah.
horrendous.
I mean, I'm still like, I didn't really watch the news I didn't really watch the news at all that week. I did do interviews, and I did a lot of international interviews too, but I mean, I'm still in shock. I mean, I saw some news clips, like, and I remember our sheriff, I saw some clips of our sheriff speaking, and it was just insane. Like, just I'm still in disbelief at how much damage was done. And it's just, the strip is kind of, I mean, you've been to the Las Vegas Strip. I always feel safe. I mean, outside of like people making you feel uncomfortable, I always feel safe. You know what I mean? You might walk by someone that makes you feel uncomfortable, but I would have never imagined a shooting taking place on the Strip or lasting more than a minute or two. You know what I mean? Because there's usually police around, whether you know it or not. and they get on scene pretty quickly. And the police, I will say this, Metro was on the scene almost immediately. I mean, the minute we stepped foot out of the venue, there were already cops surrounding and creating a barrier around this. In fact, it was hard for us to actually get off the strip. When my friend was shot, we grabbed her and put her in a pickup truck, and we could not get off. The strip was already barricaded. I mean, this all probably went down within 10. I mean, I don't really have any recollection of time. I'm not going to say it was 10 minutes or whatever amount of time it was, but I mean, they were on the scene pretty fast, and the strip was barricaded. Like, you could not get off the strip. We got lucky. There was an off-duty ambulance pulled to the side of MGM, and I begged the person in the pickup truck to let me get outside and talk to them. And they loaded her in the ambulance and took her.
Wow. So, the pickup truck?
Yeah, we made it probably. We were near behind the Tropicana at, I forget even the name of the hotel, but we had some friends staying there that we had met. And I knew it was away from like the shooting, so that's why I knew exactly where we were gonna go. When at the time, I mean, I just wanted to get away from the noise. I wasn't quite sure what the noise was, but when Kristen started coughing up blood, it became really clear what was going on.
That sounds awful. Sorry you had to go through that.
Yeah, it still kind of bugs me to this day, but yeah.
So what was your response? I mean, you just said it yourself that like you weren't even really thinking. You were just like, all right, you knew what to do, get away from the noise. Is like, how do you feel you responded? Like, even you said that your hip was hurting from the day one after, but like even when you did the damage the night of, did you even feel it, or were you just going?
Honestly, I felt my back starting to go like the next day. I never really felt the hip pain came like the hip definitely affected the back, and I maybe I just have a high pain tolerance in my hip, but like the surgery corrected it, so I know it was 100% linked. Like my back, if you even feel my back, it's like 9 day. But like I just remember like the next day, even like when I was visiting Kristen in the emergency room or in the hospital, I just remember I knew like I needed to go to the chiropractor all week, and I never did. And by the end of the week, like my back went out. I think I went, yeah, it just slipped, and I knew. And then from that point forward, I literally went to the chiropractor probably 3 times a week if I could sneak in that third time, like 2 times minimum, 3 times. And I hurt the whole time I was studying for the LSAT, and even my back went out. I remember my first week of law school. That was horrible. That was absolutely horrible.
Wow. What was that? What happened there?
So I nothing. I mean, I think it was just the stress from moving across the country and being in a car for X amount of hours. But I mean, it honestly was a blessing in disguise, because I had to I had to get a new doctor and everything, and I had to get a chiropractor referral. So I went to my doctor to get a chiropractor referral, and we had like a one-stop shop at University of Tennessee. And she goes, "You are way too young to be having back problems." And she's like, "You're going to physical therapy." And I'm like, "Okay, whatever." So she marched me down the hall to physical therapy, and she found the hip like immediately. She started messing with my leg. She's like, I think you have a torn labral. Yeah, she just kind of she could feel the catching in my leg, and she's like, she's like, "I think you have a torn labral." And when my back healed, we just like planned our PT around that. And it wasn't until a year later when my back went out again. It always goes out around the same time, like September, August. We were just like, I wasn't getting better. Like my leg wasn't, and I couldn't sit for long periods of time. I got an MRI and we found it.
Damn. It's crazy how that can just sit there for a couple years.
Yeah, and it really slowed me down in law school. It really, like, if I wasn't working or studying or in school, I was at PT or the chiropractor or
wow,
an injection, whatever. Yeah.
Damn. What injection?
I don't quite know what they've been injecting me with. It's super common. Probably a cortisone shot.
Cortisone?
Yeah, cortisone, and then mix it with something to numb some. I don't know.
Wasn't it? Oh, wow.
Yeah. Oh wait, what were you gonna say?
No, I don't know. I just thought it was full cortisone. Or like the cortisone was also a numbing agent.
I know they mix it with something because they have to actually like get an ultrasound, and they have to ultrasound my leg to find out where it's gonna go in, because one, they want to find where the most like damage
Tear.
is. Not the tear itself, because you can't really see the. I had to get an MRI, and they had to put dye in my leg to find the tear. But like,
Wow.
they're looking for, what do you call that when you get older and you're like, you start to hurt?
Arthritis?
Yeah, they're looking for where the most arthritis is in my leg, and then they also have to peer the like sac of like on my joint. They
They
have
have
to
to
pierce
pierce
essentially
it.
with the needle,
Wow. To
so it
do
goes
what?
right. What?
To do what?
They have to pierce the. I think they pierce the joint to put the injection in.
Got it. Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
I'm like getting like goosebumps throughout my body just hearing the word pierce.
It was a big needle. I mean, it was. It was.
Wow.
It was one of the few needles I couldn't watch going. I'm like,
Oh, just shoot it up. Damn. Like you said, law school doesn't wait up, it just, if something happens in the real world, like if that happened while you were in law school, that would be like, can you even go back to school right now?
you know, I think law school brought out the, like, as far as like mentally, like the pain, obviously, like you just, you take it day by day. Mentally, as far as like, are you talking about like if the shooting happened while I was in law school?
Yes.
Kristen went back to law school and she graduated. She was in her
Oh,
last,
wow.
yeah, she was at 3L, and she, we all handle things differently. Like, she also went and got a I'm trying to think of what they call the graduate degree after law school. She went and got like another law degree that's even higher than a JD. I'm trying to remember the name of it. I can't even think right now.
How many people get that? Or what percentage of law school graduates?
I have no. I'm sure it's in the single digits. It's yeah. I've seen some lawyers go and get them to become experts in certain fields of law, and then you almost don't even have to practice after that, and you could just be an expert for trials and stuff. So, like, if you want someone to come in and like translate the law, or like maybe like really complicated law, like you bring in that kind of expert. Um, Man, I really wish I remembered what the name of that degree is. There's a PhD in law, which is higher than that, and then there's a. I can't even think right now. Yeah, I'm just.
MS?
It's sort of like a master's degree of laws. Here, yeah, I got my phone right here. I'm actually gonna look this up. This is bothering me.
Go for it.
Um,
Wow. I didn't realize that there were multiple levels of law degrees. And it's a
it,
professional school. It's not a
it
graduate school.
it's called an LLM. Well, I think when you get into that field, that is a professional school, because there's a
Okay.
PhD of law you can get too, where you're a doctor. You rarely. I've never met anyone that has a PhD in law.
That
Um,
sounds like just a token, like doesn't even really
right.
have any use. You're just doing that for yourself.
Academic, yeah. I mean, but the degree she got is called an LLM. I just remembered what it is. It's like that next level, and she did in healthcare law.
Wow.
She felt like that was kind of her calling after everything happened. She actually just passed the bar in California, so she will be working in California pretty soon if she isn't already. I just visited her like a couple months ago. I think it was in January. I think I went before my surgery, actually, and I visited her in Seattle. She just moved to Florida, but she'll be moving to California here probably next year.
Nice. That's good. Congratulations to her for passing the bar. That's huge.
Huge.
And your bar is in Nevada?
My bar, I will be taking the bar exam in Nevada. Yeah, that's the plan right now. Eventually in California, but we'll see. We'll see where the money takes me.
What are the differences between the bars?
So California is a very difficult bar, but so does Nevada. I don't know why California's is more difficult. I know in Nevada ours is because it's more writing intensive. So I know people that have taken both bars, and some people say the Nevada bar is harder, to be honest, just because of the writing. I think it really matters of what you find more difficult. I think there's more California specific stuff on the bar, and that might be the reason why. But because I'm not even really planning on taking it, I really don't. I can't answer that question.
Got it. Wow. That's well, good luck to you.
Thank you.
When do you take that?
End of July.
End of July. So about 4 months.
Yeah. That's crazy to think about.
That you're gonna be done or hopefully done.
Hopefully done. And yeah, I mean, the sooner the better. I mean, I really, man, it's a big test, like, and it makes or break. I mean, it's gonna determine whether, I get hired on. I mean, I have a job, like I've signed an offer, but I don't get paid on the lawyer as on the level of a lawyer until I pass the bar. So,
How confident are you feeling?
you know, I'm not feeling I don't really have a feeling one way or another, just because with COVID going on, we don't even know what the bar is going to be. Um and it's just, it's hard to think about the bar exam when graduation is just over a month away. And it's like,
Yes.
where do I find more time out of my busy schedule to
Think.
start, yeah, to even like even registering is like a pain in the butt. But I gotta, it's just like everything in law school. Just grind it out, get it done.
Grind it out, get it done. Don't have to deal with it tomorrow.
Yeah.
Wow. That well, how so you're gonna start studying in probably like a month or so?
I'd really like to start studying next week. But yeah, I mean, I just need to sit down and start it.
Is it
Uh,
gonna be in person?
we don't know. Nevada is not. I talked to somebody that is a bar examiner. She's actually my supervisor for my externship. She's a former dean at Michigan State, and she told me they don't know. She told me last year we didn't have a certain section of it on the or certain section on the bar. It was take home in February, and it was open book. Which is, yeah, I know. Well, I know your eyes are lighting up, but honestly, that really doesn't help you because
No. Because
it's
it's what?
a time crunch.
Wow. In what
You're
way?
I mean, you just have an X amount of time to answer ridiculous amount of questions, and you should know the material. And if you do, I mean, I know some lawyers that said Control F was really helpful during but I can't imagine they had very much time to learn material that they didn't already know. So I'm sure that, honestly, I don't think an open book exam is any easier than a closed book one
No.
for this case.
What was that?
In this particular case,
No. I think in most cases where a professor is willing to implement an open book test, it's much harder, probably.
yeah,
I've had a couple and they're just like, they're so tough. It's like no amount of like examples will help you with this analytical problem.
yeah.
Wow. Well, soon you're going to be off. Well, also, I wanted to talk healthcare law. Do you know anything about healthcare law?
No, I have not taken a healthcare law class. I had a professor who was really into it. His name was Buck Lewis. No, it wasn't Buck Lewis. Professor. I just remember him as Professor Buck. But Penn grad. What? I mean, why are you asking? I'm just curious.
I'm very interested in, I mean, the healthcare system right now is a very, you know, forefront in the spotlight topic, and it's a huge part of federal and government spending, and it just understanding the laws behind it and what
Yeah, it's a mess.
it's a mess. Yeah. What
um,
do you have any opinions on it?
in the United States, we pay the most for healthcare, and we have the least, like the lowest level of customer satisfaction imaginable, like way lower than any nationalized healthcare system in the developed world. It makes absolutely no sense because we pay so much money for it.
We pay so much. I feel like that what you just said is under highlighted in the sense that we pay a lot of money. Like, more money isn't necessarily the correct, isn't the answer when we already pay the most
Yeah.
on a percentage basis, not even on like a total basis. I believe it's like percentage wise, we also spend like over 40% of the budget on healthcare.
We, I don't really know if I think entitlements are no, it's probably more now than 40%. It might be 50. Yeah, you might be wrong. You might be right about that. It might be 40%.
Entitlements.
Yeah, I know that entitlements are starting to eat up the federal budget pretty bad.
What are entitlements?
Entitlement would be like Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid.
Got it.
Um,
Yes,
it
those are all what I'm Medicare and Medicaid, military, healthcare, VA healthcare, just general government employer healthcare.
VA healthcare is getting a lot better since Obama signed. I think it was the Veteran Choice Act. I think John McCain wrote it. We've seen a lot better results coming out of veteran care, but we have a long way to go. Um,
What results are you speaking about?
Wait times are down. They kind of allocated resources where they needed to be better, which is, I mean, veterans care is kind of a preview of what a national healthcare system could be like. So they really need to like get it figured out. Like Canada, I know I was listening to like a testimony from somebody who knew a lot about the Canadian health system. And I think Richard Burr was actually the senator and chairman of that committee. And they were talking about how Canada like figured out how to reduce wait times by putting doctors where they needed to be instead of staffing a minimum amount of doctors or a maximum number of doctors at a particular given location. So they were just finding out how to move the resources around so that they could better serve patients, and it actually really worked. It really got wait times down in Canada for seeing a doctor. So
I feel like there may be too many regulations in place for something like that to
it's
happen.
I would love to come back and talk about this more. I just have to do a lot of research on it. But regulations, I mean, some of the regulations in the Obamacare is good. I mean, having a minimum level of health insurance is a good thing. I mean, people selling plans that don't cover 50% of your medical expenses shouldn't be on the market. And if you have an underlying condition, you should be covered. Now we need to fix the way that's funded because we're all paying for it, and it raises the price of healthcare for everyone because healthcare is spread out. When you pay into a pool of insurance, you don't pay a higher price because you have an underlying condition. And I don't think you should pay more. I think it should be even across the board. But I've heard a lot of talk about maybe changing the way risk pools are set up. for people with underlying conditions, and that might be the answer. Who knows?
Risk
I
pools? What are risk pools?
risk pools are like, I believe it's when people fall into categories of like they're higher risk
Diabetes.
for medical conditions, or not even that. It's like for people with underlying conditions that are very expensive to cover. I think that is what the risk pools address. Because we've never seen any, or I've never seen any meaningful legislation put forward to address that. I've heard talk of it. So yeah,
Wow.
you should. I mean, you should try and get Kristen to come on here. She might know more about health. She'll probably know a lot more about healthcare law than I do.
I would love to hear about it.
Yeah,
So
maybe I'll talk to her about it. Maybe she'll do it.
that'd be awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Wow. But you're going into immigration law? What?
I don't know how much immigration law I'll be practicing. I know that we focus on reuniting families, or we focus on family issues regarding immigration. I'm not real like I went in one day. I haven't really been trained yet. Like tomorrow's my first real day. So I know that we have a very narrow practice for immigration from what I've been told, but I'm sure that will, if we got business, I'm sure that would change.
Yeah. What how are you feeling about tomorrow and going to a new
I,
job?
I'm excited. I'm excited. I It's going to be interesting balancing, work, school, and my externship with the judge. But I'm gonna try to find a way to make it all work. And I know that they're willing to work with me, so that'll be a kind of a relief.
How long do you maintain the externship?
I think it ends sometime next month. I need to go look. In fact, when I get off of here, I gotta find that out because I know I've got a couple assignments due before it ends. So it should end sometime probably towards the end of April.
Right when you end school?
It'll probably end a week before I end school. But there are several assignments. Like I've got papers to write regarding it. I know I've got to do like 2 professional events. Yeah.
Did you what?
No, never mind. I don't. I'm good.
Are you going to be working from home tomorrow on your first day?
No, but eventually I will transition to working remotely. In fact, I'm supposed to be going to court. I have not been in the judge's chambers yet. I should be going in Thursday. So tomorrow I work. I go into my office. It's in downtown Las Vegas. It's right next to Ed Bernstein or the Nevada Supreme Court offices. Yeah. I mean, we're starting to get back to normal. I'm only going in because you need to work next to people. You know what I mean? Especially when you start a new job, you got to be trained.
Yes. It's important to get that exposure.
Yeah.
So how's Las Vegas been in the last year?
It's been interesting. I'd say we were probably shut down on the level of California for those till like summer. Our governor's been a little bit more pushy about opening than the governor in California. We don't have as much outdoor. We haven't really had outdoor dining like you guys have, but you also have really good weather. So I think that plays. It's been interesting. It's been a while. I mean, it's been a wild year. Tourism's been down. It's starting to come back. I mean, there's a line to here every weekend, and then going back, there's a line on the way back on Sunday. So things are really starting to pick up again. I'm excited for what's in store for the city. I mean, we got an NFL team now. Our
hockey team's champions.
We might be champions this year. We're number 1 in the power rankings. Knock on wood.
Was their team an addition, or did they get a transfer team?
No, we got an expansion team.
Oh wow.
So we had an expansion draft. Yeah, I didn't really follow the hockey too much. I think that was the year I was studying for the LSAT, and like I went to the last game of the regular season for that first year, their freshman season or whatever you want to call it, and um, I got hooked. I went to all four of the games for the playoff series against LA, and I went to a bunch of playoff games. It's just
Hockey's the best sport to
it
be at.
it really is. Hockey is the most underrated sport on the planet, I would say.
Yes.
It's super exciting and it really brings people together.
Yes. And I'm sure the city of Vegas, how's the city of Vegas embracing their new teams?
We really haven't been able to see it with the Raiders so much. I mean, you see Raiders stuff everywhere, but you don't, until the stadium opens, like they didn't allow any fans to share at any of the Raiders games at any point in time.
That was
So
the owner too, right? Mike Davis was like
Mark did not
Mark
go to
Davis.
a game. Like he did not even. I know his sister was at one of the game, or she might have been at a few of the games, but I don't. Yeah, it's crazy. Like I thought if anyone would have gotten fans at some point in time, it would have been the Raiders, but it just he didn't want him there, and I think it was a good decision. Because we all needed to take this seriously, and I think people keep trying to not take it seriously because they're just tired of it, and that's not the right attitude. So, I really like support what he did.
Nice. People are tired of it, but I mean, like I found out one of the football coaches for my high school, he one of the ex-football coaches died of COVID last month,
Wow,
and I was like shocked. I was like, wow, you went through a whole year, didn't catch it, and then right on the cusp of like vaccinations being spread out, died. Kind of even Larry King himself. I mean, Larry King was like probably a month away from getting a vaccine or something.
crazy.
Crazy.
We lost a lot of people. I mean, not even just the COVID. Like, I mean, Sean Connery died. I'm trying to think of who else died.
Sean Connery died?
Sean Connery died.
Whoa, hold on. Let me pull out my phone real quick.
Sean Connery passed away. And I don't even think he died of COVID. That the mom from Arrested Development died. Don't ask me what her name is.
Oh, she died too? I didn't know that.
She just died. She just passed away. Very sad. I'm
Wow.
trying to think. We lost a decent amount of old
Kobe.
Dude, what's crazy to think about is Kobe died in 2020.
Yes.
Like my friend said that to me the other day, and I was like, "What?" I'm like, "There's no way." Like nothing. Like there's no way Kobe died in 2020. We've been on lockdown. I just couldn't believe it. It was in February. I remember where I was. I'm not a Lakers fan. I'm a Celtics fan, and that shook me deeply. Like I was really shook by that. Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people were shook. He was so young. I mean, it was completely unexpected.
Super young, super unexpected. I mean,
Tragic.
Super tragic. I mean, he was the world ambassador to basketball. Like, I mean, and he had an international following. I mean, he grew up in Italy. Like, he grew up. His dad played in Italy for years. I mean, he
was an Olympic champion.
Olympic champion, Oscar winner.
He won the Oscars.
He won an Oscar for a short film about the poem he wrote. He wrote a poem about basketball when he retired, and he turned it into a little short film, and he won an Oscar for it.
Right. I remember that.
It's a beautiful poem too. You got to respect Kobe. You may not like everything about his career or the fact
his personality. Yeah.
Well, I don't know why Kobe gets crap for his personality. His personality. I mean, Jordan is probably 10 times worse than Kobe.
Was he?
Loves Jordan. Yeah. Have you seen the documentary? Have you watched?
No.
Dude, No way.
I watched episode 1 and I didn't watch the rest.
Did you not like episode 1? Is that why you stopped?
No, I liked it. I just
Wow.
didn't watch it.
I mean, you didn't grow up. I mean, you probably don't remember Jordan playing, do you? I
No,
mean,
I
like,
don't. My first memories are the Lakers championships in 2000.
so I remember Jordan playing when I was 5. And honestly, what made him a legend to us kids was Space Jam.
Space Jam was amazing.
Yeah, like imagine watching that as a kid and watching him go and win a championship.
So
Like
crazy.
it's just like I was not even a big basketball fan growing up, but like everyone knew Michael Jordan was the best. And then Space Jam made him a legend. Like
Space
I,
Jam was the greatest. I don't know. Like, yeah, that's so amazing you bring that up because that was an amazing movie.
yeah, as especially as kids. Like it's just especially seeing it on the big screen and like yeah. I'm excited about the new one. And I'm excited LeBron actually won a ring before he did it. Like I mean he's arguably the best player in the NBA right now. I'm trying to think of someone who's better than him.
Is
Maybe
it
maybe AD, his teammate. I don't know.
really? Is there anyone who's even like close? Like, is Harden? I mean, Harden's
Harden's a,
not better than
Harden's a
LeBron.
good scorer. Harden's a good scorer, but he doesn't play defense. And not that LeBron plays great defense, but Harden doesn't guard anybody.
KD.
KD is probably one of the best shooters, and he does play defense to a certain degree. I like KD a lot. I don't. I'd put KD in like the Joe. What's his name? Joannis, the Greek. The Greek
Giannis.
Giannis. Yeah, I'd put him in that category. Um, trying to think of other great players. Kawhi Leonard, San Diego State alum. Uh, Kawhi's really good. Kawhi, I just feel like just gets put on. I mean, he's won a championship pretty much by him and Kyle Lowry basically won a championship by themselves in Toronto. Like I
Yes.
cannot believe that the Raptors won a championship in my lifetime.
It was a great thing to happen to everyone. The state of basketball.
Yeah, because it was like a team that nobody expected. Like it's you usually know who's going to win the finals. Like whether you can go back and forth about it, but it's usually a pretty good indicator of who's going to win.
The
That was
finals.
a
What was that?
no, I said it was really cool.
The finals and the Super Bowl are generally pretty bad, I feel like, compared to the conference championships.
Not Super Bowl. Wait, wait. What are you saying? I'm confused.
Conference championships are better than Super Bowls and championship series sometimes. Many times. I feel like most of the time.
Football, I just don't think you can do. Well, no, football does have conference championships to a certain extent. I don't know about that.
Like the AFC. Yeah, that's true. I mean,
They do. They have the AFC and the NFC, and then they have the divisional round. You can't do game series with football because it's too injury prone. So that's
yes.
why you win or you lose, and that's just it.
Yes. But what I'm saying is that sometimes those conference, even if it's a one-time or a series, for me, can be better and more exciting of a game than the championship game or championship series.
I mean, especially with basketball, because for
Yes.
some the West has been so dominated, or dominant, and the East is usually a mess. The East usually has like 1, 2 teams, and then the West. You look at people's record in the West, and it's like all up and down. So I
Crazy.
agree with you for basketball, definitely. Hockey's a little bit harder to say that because you really don't, especially this season, like you don't know because they're sticking divisions. And I just feel like the Stanley Cup is just way different. You never know who's going to win or lose.
Stanley Cup. I don't
You
know the
never.
NHL.
Yeah, I mean, there's teams that have come back down like 3-1. So it happens more. Teams have come back 3-0. I think actually.
Really?
It's just, yeah. I want to say the Bruins did it once, but I'm not sure.
Boston?
I think Boston did it once.
Are you a Boston Bruins fan?
No, I'm a Las Vegas Golden Knights fan.
So you're only a fan of the Celtics
I am a
as far as Boston?
yeah, I'm a Bay Area sports fan minus San Jose and minus I'm not I just feel like Warriors fans are such bandwagoners, and I'm not hating
Like Thaddeus?
uh well, no, I don't think that is, because Thad's actually from Oakland, and that's I would bet that Thad has been a Golden State Warriors fan his whole life. I hate the San Francisco people that now try to and I know they just moved to San Francisco like within the last year or two. Yeah, I think they moved into the city center, but yeah, I feel like I mean, I used to root for the Golden State Warriors when they were bad, but I'm a Celtics fan. I just don't like the Lakers. I'm sorry.
You don't like the Lakers?
No, you did Shaq wrong, and I never really forgave you for that.
No, they definitely did do Shaq wrong. But that
Yeah.
was mostly Kobe.
Actually, there's a really good interview, and it's just Kobe and Shaq sitting down talking about it. That was all blown out of proportion.
Really?
The owner that made the call. Shaq wanted more money, and the owner said no. The owner said, "You're getting old. You know you're getting old. Like I'm not going to give you that kind of money."
What was his name? Phil Knight? No, that's this Nike guy.
Was it Jerry Buss?
Jerry Buss. Yes.
I think Jerry Buss sat down with Shaq and just said, I got to pay Kobe. Like I can't.
Have you seen Jerry Buss's funeral?
No, I've never watched it. I watched Kobe's funeral.
You should watch Jerry Buss's funeral and listen to the way that Shaq and Kobe and Kareem and Magic Johnson talk about him. It's like, whoa, this is what the Lakers was. It was this one guy, yeah, Jerry Buss.
He probably is on the same level of Al Davis, or even
I think higher than Al Davis.
I don't want to say Jerry Jones, because Jerry Jones really has fallen flat since winning those 3 Super Bowls. But I compare him back to the Patriots owner.
Did Jerry Jones, was he the owner when they won the Super Bowls?
Yes. The last 3 in the 90s under, I'm really tired tonight. I know Jimmy Johnson and, oh my God, Oklahoma. Who's the coach of Oklahoma? Oh, I just had it. Mr. Ring. I can't even think of his name.
Roger Staubach?
Barry, no. He coached at Oklahoma for years.
I don't know the coaches.
It's Barry Schweitz or Barry Schwartz. I can't remember.
Barry Schwartz?
And no, it's not Barry. That's not the right name. I'd have to go look. I don't even remember. But it was they hired the head coach of Oklahoma. It's Barry something.
And this was in the 90s?
This was in the 90s. And Jerry Jones really, I mean, no disrespect to Barry, but those were Jimmy Johnson's teams. Jimmy Johnson drafted those teams, and that was all his doing. They ended the Niners streak.
Wow.
The Niners were the 80s, and then they won that one in the 90s under, I forget that coach's name.
What before what was the first guy's name? The Cowboys coach that won the championships?
Jimmy Johnson.
Jimmy Johnson. They didn't win the first one under him?
They did. They won. No, Barry came after. Jimmy left. Jimmy had a disagreement. Jimmy got in a disagreement with the owner.
That's how it always is.
Always.
Dude. What?
Broke up the band.
Terrible. Dude, Marty Schottenheimer got fired after a 14-2 season.
Oh my God. AJ. Is it AJ? Was it AJ Smith?
AJ Spanos.
Well, no, Spanos was the owner. Who was the GM?
I forgot.
the GM is who fired him, and the owner just let the GM do whatever he wanted with it. Yeah, don't even get me started on the Spanos family. Oh my god.
Do you know
The
about
worst,
them? Worst
the
owners.
So did you know that when they moved into the Rams facility, you know that the Rams owner put up all the money for the new stadium in LA,
Yes.
SoFi or whatever. Well, they expected the Chargers to, push, season tickets and PSLs. They didn't at all. So now I don't even think the owners will speak to each other anymore. Yeah, and what a crappy situation. The NFL should have. I know that the NFL and the Chargers are not
On a good place.
on a good place. I know that a lot of owners are really pissed off about two teams being in LA.
Really?
Well, it just San Diego really hasn't caught on, and I don't know if they ever will.
No.
Because you guys have a decent roster. You guys have a really good young quarterback. Your defense, I know, is solid because Anthony Lynn might have been a bad head coach, but he's not a bad defensive coach.
No. Just a bad head coach, play caller.
Oh, he was a play caller?
I don't know if he was, but whatever plays were being called on the offensive side were questionable for years.
Man, you guys have had some good, like Mike McCoy was a good coach. I know that he really struggled there, but that roster was garbage, right?
Yes, it was.
And I'm trying. North Turner was. I think North Turner was a good coach for the Chargers, but Marty should have never been fired. I mean that's still Marty Ball in San Diego was awesome. Like
Schottenheimer.
Yeah, they used to call it. But they used to call it Marty Ball. Have you never heard that term?
No, I didn't know that.
Marty. They used to play Marty Ball. That was
wow.
Back in the day. But
I didn't know that.
His son is an offensive coordinator in the NFL. I think he just left Seattle. But Marty passed away?
Yeah, he did. I think last year.
If he did, it must have been like in December. I know it happened really recently.
Really? Oh, maybe it was this year.
I think it was this year, but I'm not 100%. You're making me question myself, which is probably right.
No, you're probably correct. I'm about to find out. No, it was this year, February 8th.
Yeah, because I remember they put him into a home.
Wow.
They had to put him in a care facility, and he had Alzheimer's, right?
Yes.
That's so sad.
Very sad.
He probably one of the better coaches to not win a Super Bowl. Really sad. He was at Cleveland and then Kansas City.
I think he has like some of the most wins for a coach who's never won a Super Bowl. I think he's like might be that.
Did he draft Drew Brees? He did.
I don't know. That was before I liked football. I didn't get into football until like 2005.
Okay. Yeah, that was 5 years before Drew. I think Drew went in the league in 2000.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you had a long day today?
I just running errands and stuff. I still do rehab on my leg. I did rehab this morning. I did a deep tissue thing to try to get. I've got knots all over my legs.
Wow.
Super painful. Like some of the most pain I've ever been in is doing deep tissue massage. It's horrible.
But good at the same time, right? Like afterwards?
We'll see tomorrow. No, I'm actually really sore. I feel gross. Yeah. I'm trying to pound water and protein.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, good luck on your recovery.
Dude, thank you.
Is there any last words that you have, Joseph?
Thank you for bringing me on. Sorry if I rambled on. But dude, I had a great time and I'd love to come back if you'll have me.
Dude, I'd love to have you back. We can talk more. And we'll definitely have to get together soon. I'll have to come to Vegas.
We will. Dude, you should come for my graduation. I think I'm gonna walk at UNLV. You should come.
Really? When?
Right now it's looking like the weekend of May 15th.
Okay.
We're waiting on graduation details right now. So
I may be out of town, but let me know about it.
Okay, no, I definitely will. Always good to see you. I loved catching up with you the other night.
Yeah, that
You,
was a lot of fun.
it was a lot of fun. Have you talked to Thad?
Yeah, I did.
Dude, that's awesome that he got that. That he's staying in Davis.
Yes, he's happy about it. He said he didn't want to like. I mean, because you moved to Tennessee, but that can be pretty intense.
Um, if anybody's watching this and thinking about going to professional school, try to stay as close to home as possible.
Wow. What's the
Don't
reason you say that?
stability. Uh,
Stability?
yeah, stability. And also you might not be totally aware of cultural differences in different parts of the country. Like living in the South or East Tennessee. I mean, I love East Tennessee, but um, I might have ruffled some feathers when I moved there. And, you know me, pretty.
Yes.
I'm pretty outspoken.
I mean, it could be a very conservative place or a very liberal place, and you'll still ruffle a few feathers.
I yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah, I professional school is. I know a lot of. I like. I think it was my dentist daughter is thinking of going to dental school, and I told her try to stay as close to home as possible.
Wow.
I don't regret anything. I'm just glad it's over.
Nice. I
Yeah,
glad it's over and think you will, and I hope you do pass the bar in July.
I appreciate that, man. Thank you so much, and hopefully I'll see you before then. Even if I don't, even if you can't come out, then I'll probably take at least one trip to San Diego between now and then. I'll see you soon.
Let me know when you're here.
I will.
All right.
All right,
Later,
man.
Joseph.
Good night. Thanks for
Have a
having
good
me.
night. You're welcome. Thanks for coming on.